Hello, my name is Stephen Weigel. I'm a musician and pianist who also transcribes microtonal music. Lately, the transcriptions I've been posting have been taking more work to solve than the average one in terms of systemic puzzles. In most of the transcriptions I undertake, there's a specific agreed-upon equal temperament, which gives a finite set of possibilities and the opportunity for good spelling of scales and chords if needed. I constructed an intro similar to this one in my Georgian Music Theory Goes Hard video, which used a best fit equal temperament to create a logical transcription. Most of my obvious transcriptions don't need these sorts of justifying stories, but we're saving the most intense for last. The transcription in this video, that of Ron Sword's microtonal viral Utonal guitar neck, has a completely thought out system, so it's unambiguous to figure out. But it's more difficult to do so because of the guitar neck, and because it's in Just Intonation. Oh boy. It is possible to notate JI, or Just Intonation, in music notation. It's just way more annoying. Luckily, for me, on Facebook, Ron Sword posted the scale in a comment. Probably if he hadn't done that, we wouldn't have this one. The scale is subharmonic from harmonics 32 to 16. That means you can write every note ratio as 32 over, and then each number from 32 decreasing all the way to 16, like 32 over 32, 32 over 31, 32 over 30, and so on to 16. Of course, 32 over 32 and 32 over 16 simply give 1 over 1 and 2 over 1 the unison and octave, respectively. So this is an octave equivalent scale. Any prime numbers on the underside won't be reducible to simple ratios. The 16 notes per octave we get then, rounded to the nearest cent and reduced fully, are 1 over 1, the unison at 0 cents, 32 over 31 at 55 cents, 16 over 15, the diatonic semitone at 112 cents, 32 over 29 at 170 cents, 8 over 7, the septimal whole tone at 231 cents, 32 over 27, the Pythagorean minor third at 294 cents, 16 over 13, the tridecimal neutral third at 359 cents, 32 over 25 at 427 cents, 4 over 3, the perfect fourth at 498 cents, 32 over 23 at 572 cents, 16 over 11 at 649 cents, 32 over 21 at 729 cents, 8 over 5, the minor sixth at 814 cents, 32 over 19 at 902 cents, 16 over 9, the Pythagorean minor seventh at 997 cents, 32 over 17 at 1095 cents, and to start it over, 2 over 1, the octave at 1200 cents. So the next question, how to apply these notes to the crazy, squiggly fretboard? Well, I used a few key observations to help. In Ron's Facebook comment mentioning the scale, he points out that many common intervals are present, such as 4 over 3. And we observe 4 over 3 on the fretboard as a distinctive section with a near straight line, with the exception of one string. Guitars are often tuned in fourths, so it seemed like a good place to start to assume things were tuned in near fourths. In the beginning of the video, we hear a vamp from something that sounds like a C add 9, voiced in fifths as CGD, and an A-flat add-sharp 11 chord voiced as C, A-flat, CD. From this, I realized that the thinnest 4 strings had to be tuned something like C, F, A, D from bottom to top. Watching later, the intonation certainly seemed to match the theory that the instrument was tuned in fourths except for the major third between the second and third strings, which also exists on standard guitar tuning, but in a different way. When matching tuned fourths to the fretboard, I wanted to be sure things were correct. Luckily, there's a free online tool that would help me recreate the fretboard, a visual confirmation of my logic's potential accuracy. That tool is FretFind 2D, an online page where you can create a geometric fretboard with measurements for any tuning system, either an equal temperament or another one using a scala file. I was able to create a scala file of the 32 to 16 subharmonic scale using Scale Workshop online, download it, open it using TextEdit, and copy and paste into FretFind 2D. This gives the unequal fretboard. Now, there are only a few more assumptions to make before we have confirmation. The first is assuming that all of the open strings are also notes of the scale, which I decided to try. If this hadn't been true, this would have been a lot more work. I may have given up. The second assumption is that if we get the strings tuned to the right notes, creating frets that aren't straight across as is possible in FretFind 2D, that our fretboard's pattern will match the Utonal guitar exactly. With the first assumption, I typed in scale degrees of the tuning that were perfect fourths apart, which connects the Pythagorean notes 1 over 1, A, 4 over 3, D, 16 over 9, G, and 32 over 27, C. In scale degrees of the tuning, the 0th pitch is 1 over 1, the 8th pitch is 4 over 3, the 14th pitch is 16 over 9, and the 5th pitch is 32 over 27. After 32 over 27, there are no more perfect fourths to stack, but we need the closest to match to make my initial observation work. Not only does 8 over 5, the 12th note, fit, but it also renders the first C, G, D chord pure as it appears to me in the video. The 8 over 5 is also a major third below the 1 over 1, so we're back to that A on our second string. And then one more perfect fourth up gives us the last string, D. With the 7 strings tuned this way, a 1 over 1 on the 7th string, 4 over 3 D on the 6th string, 16 over 9 G on the 5th string, 32 over 27 C on the 4th string, 8 over 5 F up on the 3rd string, 1 over 1 A on the 2nd string, and 4 over 3 D on the 1st string, we're ready to check the shape. You can see Ron's guitar has various connected sections of frets, which allow some continuity and bending and barring potentially. So to perform a final check on the fret find 2D diagram, I printed it out and then drew connected lines across the frets to see if I could match it to Ron's fretboard. See here. With a picture of them side by side, you can see they match. So now we've completely figured out the fretboard. Onto the notation. For frequency ratios, I've been using Hedgie or Helmholtz-Ellis Just Intonation notation, which uses a series of consistently mapped accidentals for different limits, assuming the Pythagorean notes come from the unmarked circle of fifths. Online, there's a Hedgie calculator that I can use to type in any note I want, using any 12th tet accidental as 1 over 1. Luckily, it goes up to 47 limit, and Ron's subharmonic scale goes to 31 limit, so we have plenty to work with. When rendering each pitch in Dorico, I just create 1200 tone equal temperament in the tonality window, and then type in rounded cent values for each of the accidentals. Luckily, Dorico has Hedgie notation accidentals built right into the system. For no reason at all, it seems to skip the little 29 limit arrow though, so I used a similar looking sagittal symbol to conjure it. Now, with everything finally in place, ready to check, here's the chromatic scale on screen! And with that in mind, as a key, here's a transcription of the short demo for Utonal guitar. Thanks for watching.